Hi, Miss Woods here. We are learning expanded notation. Expanded. Say expanded. And you have to use your hands. Say expanded. Notation. Groups of. So expanded notation is groups of. Very good. All right. So let's talk about these shapes. What do you see? Yeah, there are lots of shapes. And what we're going to do is make groups of. So, for example, how many squares do you see? Orange squares. How many? Count them. There are two groups of orange squares. So we will move these squares. So we don't say two squares. We're going to say two groups of. And do this with your hands when we say groups of. Two groups of orange squares. So where is it in the chart? It's in the squares. How many groups of squares do we have? We have two groups of squares. So let's do the same with the hexagons, the yellow hexagons. How many groups of do we have? So each one is a group. So we have three groups of hexagons. Very good. So how many groups of pentagons do we have? We have three groups of pentagons. Very good. Well, how many red trapezoids do we have? That's right. We have 0 groups of trapezoids. Excellent. Well, how many groups of blue circles do we have? We have 2. What? That's right. Groups of blue circles. Now, how many green triangles do we have? That's right. We have 5 groups of green triangles. Now, you might be thinking, oh, this looks familiar. You might know where Miss Woods is going with this. All right, so now, this chart looks familiar. Does anybody know what this chart represents? Well, let me give you a hint, because in 3rd grade, we put a little dot here, and that dot is called a decimal. And it gets its own little place. All right, we're going to go to the next slide. Now, what are you supposed to remember from this slide? What did we say? We were learning what? Expanded notation. Groups of. Good job. I'm missing again on this chart that I'm supposed to have. Oh, you are too smart for me. I'm going to use a different color. I'm going to use green. We are missing the decimal. Very good. The decimal needs to go right here, which is a little dot. All right. We'll talk about what the decimal does more later. But now let's focus on, what is it? Expanded notation, which is groups of. So now you're very familiar with these. These are our base 10 blocks. Now you remember you last year did ones, tens, and hundreds. And you used to put letters, O for 1, H for 10, T for 10, and H for hundreds, right? Well, now we're going to go to the next set or the next family, and numbers just keep going on, but we're going to only add 3 more place values to that, and we're going to use numbers now. So we do ones, tens, hundreds, and then where we separate the families, we put a comma because they're going to have a different last name. The last name of these groups is going to be called the thousands. Okay? All right. So we have ones, and the little unit cubes, the little yellow unit cubes, those are our ones. Then we have the tens, and those are the blue long rods. That's what we call them, rods. All right. Then we have the hundreds, which are the flats, and each one is 100. Then we have the 1000s, and this block is kind of covering up. This is how you write 1000s. Then we have the 10,000s, and the 10,000s are noted as TT. So it's 10 of the 1,000. See how it's a little bigger? So 10,000s. And then we have the 100,000. So it's 100 of the thousands. It's 10 of the 10,000s. We're going to get there. All right. So now we have to determine how many groups of ones do we have. Do you remember how to do that? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 groups of 1. How many groups of 10 do we have? 1, 2. So we have 2 groups of 10. Very good. How many groups of 100 do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 groups of 100. Now, how many groups of 1,000 do we have? 1, 2, 3. 3 groups of 1,000. How many 10,000s do we have? How many groups of 10,000s do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it didn't want to move right. 4, 5. 5 groups of 10,000. And then how many 100,000s do we have? We have 1 group of what? 100,000. So we count the numbers of groups of the place value, right? So there are 5 groups of 1, and 1 is the place value. There are 2 groups of 10, and 10 is the place value. You got it. Can you tell me this one? Yes, 8 groups of 100, right? So we say how many, then we say groups of, and then we name the place value. Very good. We name the place value. So this is 3 groups of 1,000. This is 5 groups of 10,000. So when you see the comma, you say its last name, right? All right. This is 1 group of, notice I didn't put an S on it, 1 group of 100, say the last name, 1,000. Very good. All right. So now we're going to see what this looks like when we write expanded notation. Groups of. So when you say notation, you say groups of. Let's try it again. Expanded Notation. Groups of. Good job. All right.